Okay, my grasshoppers, this is an in-depth video analysis breakdown of Roger Federer's 100 topspin backhand. As I usually do, I'll be focusing on the common threads of his swing. The common threads are parts of his stroke that are duplicated by all great players, and it is these common threads that you must copy in order to master a 100 topspin backhand. Now, there are certain things that Roger Federer does that I do not expect you to duplicate, but the following common threads are a must. Now, the first one I'm going to be talking about is the little L. And what I mean by the little L is the angle between his hand and racket. I'm not focused on the type of grip, but more on how he maintains that little L throughout the stroke. And that little L is that 90-degree angle that you see right there, right between his wrist and forearm right there and the racket. And that is so crucial, okay, to your stroke, because you will see that little L, I'm going to show you about 360-degree view right there. That little L is going to maintain throughout the backswing. Now you can see right there in the power position. Okay, you're going to see as the racket goes further into his stroke right there. I'm going to give you a little side view right now from the back actually, and you'll see how that little L, you can see that 90-degree angle right there is still there. You will see up here in the power position when the racket goes right behind him, you'll see it again, and especially eye contact is going to be pretty much the most important time to have that 90-degree angle is right when he's making contact right there. So it's not so much how you hold. There's so many different one-handed backhand grips you can choose from, but you have to maintain that 90-degree angle, and you will see that that 90-degree angle remains throughout. If I'm going to move Roger back into frame right and watch how that 90-degree angle stayed throughout the stroke. So the little L is the first common thread that you must duplicate in order to have a nice, fluid, smooth 100 topspin backhand. Now, let's move on to the next common thread, and to me, it's the shoulder turn. I call it the first move in my common thread series. Is the first move that all great players make, and it's a shoulder turn, not taking your racket back, but just pretty much turning the shoulders. So watch what he does right there. That racket stays across on his body. He does not take the racket back. Give you a little side view right there. See the racket? He turns his shoulders, and the racket really hasn't left his body yet. It's still in line with his body, and that is what's so important to do. He is going to be moving for that short ball a bit, and the racket is still across from his body. So the first move on the backhand right there, watch as he's not really moving for that ball much, but even if you have to run, that racket will stay directly across from his shoulders right there. So be careful, don't fall in the trap on the first move to take your racket back. Just turn your shoulders and keep the racket across from your body. Now, on the next common thread, I'm going to be talking about the rhythm of the stroke. And sometimes as a teaching pro, we all get too wrapped up in how to hit the ball, and sometimes we forget the rhythm and the tempo of the stroke. And here I'm going to show you how the correlation between the last step right there. Now watch how right when his step is about to hit the ground right there, watch the correlation with that step right here, and as the racket, really the stroke begins, the racket goes into the forward move right there. And all these are 4 different backhands. So watch as his step hits the ground right there. You see the foot is about to hit the ground, and you see the stroke begin right there. So a lot of time my students, just they really focus so much on the how and forget, hey, let's really try to sync now the feet and the stroke. Okay, so important when you're going to step, and your last step right here pretty much unleashes the stroke. Okay, now I'm going to stay here with that step, because this is a great example right here of the heel to toe weight transfer. Now the heel to toe weight transfer is really going to allow you to really bend into the shot. A lot of my students end up hitting with a toe first, the leg locks up, and then you end up kind of swinging around. You're not allowing your weight to transfer forward. So make sure that you have a nice heel to toe weight transfer, and now we'll see how he gets his front leg to bend and really to shift his weight into the shot. All right, so that's a very important part of the stroke. The next move right there is what I call the power position. Some pros have call it differently, but I call it power position. To me, the power position is where the racket is almost parallel. I will show you right here. The racket is almost parallel to this back fence. Perpendicular to this back fence and parallel to the back fence. And you'll see it right here. The racket is going to be, you see, the racket is almost pointing right back here, but yet parallel to this back fence right there. To me, that's where that racket needs to go. This is where you're going to get a lot of power. See where the racket is pointing? Almost directly right there. Okay, it is perpendicular to this to the side fence right here, and the racket is almost parallel right there at a 90-degree angle to the back fence. So that power position right there is a must. Too many of my students do not take the racket that far back, end up kind of just arming the ball, and this is where you're going to really get ready to unleash all the power. And this is created by a good shoulder turn, but sometimes just really try to use your non-hitting hand. Roger, that's his left hand, to get the racket pretty much, really try to get it right parallel to that back fence and perpendicular to that next one. Now, as I was just talking about the left hand, I want to show you how long Roger keeps the non-hitting hand on the racket. Another really common mistake, and is how my students let go of the racket too soon. To watch how the left hand is going to stay pretty much right when the racket is about the left hip right there. So give you a different view of it, especially from the back side right here. You'll get to see that left hand stays right about there, and it is now that you're going to release the left hand right before your racket is going into the point of contact. So don't be afraid to hang on to that racket a little longer. Now let's talk about the leading up to the point of contact right here. And I want to show you something, right, is how he's really leading with the butt cap of the racket into the stroke. See, it's the butt cap comes through, and then the racket head kind of lags behind a little bit, and really have to make sure that you set your racket. Look at the 90-degree angle is there, and I'm going to show you a good view right there from the front, and we'll see how the butt cap of the racket comes first, and then the racket trails behind, and there's the 90-degree angle, point of contact. The arm straightens out at contact right there, and this is pretty much where you want to be. There is, I will show you, unlike a slice backhand, you want to make contact well out in front. There is the 90-degree angle right there that remain throughout the stroke, and that's so important. The 90-degree angle, and hit the ball out in front at contact. Now he does something very, very subtle right there, and I want you to watch right now the back foot. Watch how the back foot slides in to and behind the front foot. You'll be able to see it right here as well. Very subtle, but it kind of slides in. Now, unlike a forehand where you can really uncoil and use your whole lower body, here you got to remain sideways, so you have to make sure it's very, very subtle right there, but make sure that you can drag that back foot right there into the front foot, so you can get your hips into the shot a little bit. So very subtle move, but yet a common thread that all great players do when they hit the ball. They let that foot kind of slide in right there, and I'll show you another one for another view right there. Watch how that foot is going to kind of slide very subtly right there, but it's going to slide behind. And now the follow through at the end. Now Roger kind of releases his hand a little bit. You'll see a little bit of wrist, but as I just mentioned earlier, what's so important is there it is, that 90-degree angle still reappeared at the end. So everybody can have a little different follow through. Roger really just releases the common thread on this back end right there that a lot of the players will duplicate, will be the left hand, and you can see where the non-hitting hand is stayed back right there, right behind him. And watch here from the back view right here, you will see again the 90-degree angle. We can peek at it right there on top. You'll see it right here on top of the screen that the 90-degree angle remained throughout the stroke. All right, my grasshoppers, I know that was a lot of little subtleties that Roger Federer's, a lot of little common threads as I call them, but it is these common threads that are so important for you to duplicate if you want to really master a beautiful 100 topspin backhand. So we're going to finish up with the stroke in slow motion from the front right there. We're going to see it from the side right there. Good shoulder turn, right into the power position, great heel to toe, power position, point of contact, and release. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this videotape analysis of Roger Federer's 100 topspin backhand. And for more videos like this, you can check out my website at www.tennisoxygen.com. Thank you for listening.